Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to So You Think You're Iconic. Before we start, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Um, what conspiracy do you want to make more popular? And why is it the one about how Wyoming isn't real? I found that on Twitter a couple of days ago, and I completely believe it.
And you know what? I believe it now too.
Who has met anyone from Wyoming or
Yeah.
who's ever been to Wyoming? It's not real.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I have a boyfriend and he lives in Wyoming. Or like I met someone in Canada. It's like they're not real.
Yeah, it's not a
Is
real
if
thing.
anyone is listening from Wyoming, are you real or is this a simulation?
It's a simulation. It's a government trick.
It's just an empty state. There's no one there.
It's water. It's a
It's
big square of water in between the US.
it's one of the Great Lakes that nobody mentions.
Lake Wyoming.
Lake Wyoming. We see you. We know the truth.
So how's your week been?
Been pretty good. We finally got good air quality and weather out here in
Oh my
California.
gosh, yes we
So
did.
got to
Yesterday it
spend
was
some
so
time
nice
outside.
outside. It was so
So
nice
nice.
outside.
And then um Nintendo released a lot of old like Mario games. So my brother bought like a 3-pack and we've been playing Mario 64 and Mario
Yes.
Sunshine.
Mario 64 is my favorite Mario game. I
It's
told
one of
you
my favorites.
I told you earlier this week how I wanted to buy a Nintendo 64
Hmm.
and a GameCube. But I was so excited because I'm on Xbox and I was all thinking like, wow, I used to love Sonic Adventure 2. Guess what I found on Xbox Live?
Sonic Adventure 2.
I bought it and I've been playing that and Tomb Raider for the past week.
Yes.
If I didn't have to work this week, that's all I would have done this week. Which by the way, I am mentally exhausted from work. We've been
Jumping back on that rat race.
we've been doing training and it's so much information and we have a quiz on Wednesday and I honestly don't know how I'm going to do.
You guys have quizzes?
Because we're, how do I say this without like triangulating? Well, I can say my position and I won't say who I work for.
Yeah.
I am a classroom assistant. So I have to learn a certain amount of information. Actually, I have to learn all the information for the place I'm working. And then I have to relay it to the people we are teaching it to. And so while the instructor is up there teaching people, if anyone has questions, they have to ask me. So I have to know everything.
Oh no. Okay, yeah, then I get it.
It's a lot of information. And our test is only on a small section of information. And I was like, this is, and like my supervisor was like, this is the easy information. And I was like, oh
Oh
crap.
no.
I have like four in my, I left my notes in my car. I have like 4 pages of notes.
Oh my gosh. And that's the easy.
And that's the easy. And then we're going to go over it for like on Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday we have our test.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not looking forward to this.
Yo, rip.
But at least if any of us gets fired, it won't be me because some girl came back from her lunch 20 minutes late.
Oh, well,
And since
sees the potential.
yep, and since it's oh, she's also really dumb, but like let me
Oh.
not uh uh,
Anyway.
uh so I'm ready for you to tell me about this movie, Kelly.
All right, everybody. This week we're talking about Charlie's Angels, and not the new one, the 2000s version.
The one I have memorized,
Yes,
but we'll get to those parts
we're gonna get
when
there.
yeah.
Okay, so we start out on a plane with LL Cool J,
Mm-hmm.
which is very strange, who is some kind of middleman with diamonds, and he's meeting a guy in first class, and they're exchanging diamonds for what, a bomb?
A bomb. But let's go back a little bit. There were nuns in first class.
Yeah,
I don't know why nuns would be on a plane or in first class. It doesn't really seem like their thing.
yeah, it doesn't seem like a nun lifestyle choice to spend a lot of money to go first class on a plane.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah,
Do nuns go on planes?
I have no idea.
I've never seen a nun on a plane.
Oh, when I used to work at Sears, we would sometimes have nuns come in and buy stuff. I don't know what for, but they
Really?
would. Yeah,
Wow, okay.
most of the time they couldn't speak English.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Well, anyway, um, LL Cool J, or does he have a name in this movie? Did
no,
they say? Okay. Anyway, we're just gonna call him by his real name.
yeah.
LL Cool J shows him the diamonds. The guy shows him the bomb, and he says, "I am the bomb." And there's like a minute left,
Which
and
made
so
absolutely no sense.
yeah,
As a child, I never realized it, but it made no sense. How is he going to get paid if he was wearing the bomb?
yeah, and like, what if it took a lot longer, like at the airport, and it blew up at the airport, not on the plane? Like,
Right?
was
And
the
I know,
bomb
and
ever
I know,
supposed to reach its destination?
yeah, and I know this was like pre 9/11, but like they didn't have any checks because like he wasn't hiding it well. It was just
It's
underneath a
just under his
jacket.
jacket. Yeah, and it
Also,
wasn't like his jacket was zipped all the way up either.
yeah, and
It was like halfway.
also pre 9/11 stuff. Did you notice that there was a couple that went into the bathroom to seemingly
Yes,
hook up? Isn't that illegal?
I think it is.
I don't know if that was legal pre 9/11, but it's
Yeah,
definitely illegal now.
I don't know.
And like the flight attendant was just like, "Oh, there they go." It was like
Right,
you're not
doesn't
even
even
gonna.
say anything.
Yeah, but let's get back into the story.
Yeah, let's get back to the story. And so LL Cool J's like looks at the TV and he notices that like they're playing an old TV show, whatever. I don't know how that
TJ
connects to
Hooker,
anything.
because Charlie's Angels was an old show, right? I
Oh,
think that's why.
yeah,
Because he was
yeah.
all like, "Don't you hate it when they try to bring back old TV shows or something like that?"
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
yeah,
that was
yeah.
like supposed to be like a joke. It wasn't good,
Okay.
but it
It
was a
wasn't
joke.
good. So he makes that joke or whatever, and the guy says, "Well, what do you do?" And LL Cool J just says, "We leave." And homie grabs the guy with the bomb, busts open the door on the airplane, and jumps out.
Hmm.
And like, aren't Charlie's Angels supposed to be like protectors? Because like, what happens to the other people on the plane now that the door's off?
I guess they just all got sucked out because I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah,
airplanes work, but in all the movies I see, if there's like a hole in an airplane, like everything gets sucked
everyone
out.
gets sucked out. Yeah, and like the plane, if you like look when they jump out, the plane just keeps flying
Yeah,
normally.
it keeps flying like there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, like, oh, this is was planned. Everybody, don't freak out. It's fine.
Like no one freaked out. There was no scream or anything.
I
They just
know. It's just
jumped off.
like, bam, let's get out of here. And so they're falling through the air. The guy with the bomb is screaming, and then they pass a helicopter where another girl jumps out, and they get the bomb off the guy, which explodes as they're
Midair.
falling, and it's
Hmm.
the effects are so bad.
Yeah.
That effect is
But
so
we won't
bad.
hold that against
We
them.
won't hold that against
This was
them.
probably filmed in 1999. We won't hold that against them.
Yeah, we won't. We won't comment on it. It's fine. And then they pull their chutes and they keep falling and they perfectly land onto a speedboat.
Hmm.
And the guy's all freaking out
Driven
and
by Cameron Diaz.
driven by Cameron Diaz
Yes. Or
and
Natalie in this movie.
Natalie. And the guy freaks out and he says, he looks at LL Cool J and he's like, "You're a crazy bastard." And he pulls out like a voice modulator. I don't
Hmm.
know.
That looked the size of like, wow, what could I even compare? It was huge. It was like the size
Yeah,
of like two quarters.
yeah, yeah, like a baby's fist, like
Yeah.
stuffed in her mouth. And she's like, "I think you mean crazy bitch." And she pulls off the mask like Mission Impossible style, and it's Dylan or Drew Barrymore.
Hmm.
And then it leaves that and it introduces the girls, Natalie, Alex, and Dylan. and it
Yes.
shows them all in like different walks of life. Like Alex is the preppy, rich, smart girl. Dylan's
Perfect.
yeah, Dylan's the bad girl, gets in trouble.
Hmm.
What's Natalie though? Like
She's like the
ditzy
geeky, yeah,
ditzy
geeky,
blonde
smart.
girl
Yeah.
who's actually kind of smart.
Yeah. She's
Okay.
just, I wouldn't say she's ditzy. I'd say she's more aloof,
Because she has her
maybe.
moments where like she can't like read the room or whatever.
Yes, because she has a very dumb moment and towards the end of the movie that I will be talking about.
Yeah, yeah, like she has a couple dumb moments, and I'm like, oh, okay. But she has the smarts. Anyway,
Yeah.
so they're all different, but they're all brilliant and beautiful, and that's what brings them all together. And that's why they work for Charlie. And then we move on to Dylan waking up on a boat with sweet Chad,
The Chad.
the Chad.
I want to know what Chad did to get Dylan to sleep with him.
Right.
He was wearing long johns in Los Angeles. He's not the
Yeah,
smartest person. I
he's
don't know what was
he's
happening.
not. And the state of his boat, like,
It was crappy.
yeah, you don't get on a boat with a guy like that.
You don't get on a boat that's leaking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's literally leaking water on her leg. And so Chad's making her breakfast and Dylan gets a call and she's like, "Oh, I got to go to work." And he's following her trying to be like, was it the eggs? I can make you something else." And it turns out it was the Chad.
It was the Chad.
It was the Chad. We then go to Natalie, who's having a dream about dancing, which,
Hmm. Natalie
same.
has three separate dance numbers in this movie. And
Yeah.
for some reason, I know the moves to all of them.
No way.
Yes, I was literally doing the whole 60s dream sequence dancing. You
I
can ask
love
my
that.
sister.
That's amazing. So she has a dream and then she wakes up, continues dancing, gets a package, answers the door in her underwear and a tank top,
Hmm.
which, fine, do your thing. She gets the same call into work. And then we go to Alex and Jason Chandler from Friends.
I don't think he was Joey.
Oh, Joey. Shoot, I got that wrong.
Joey.
I haven't seen it in a long time. But Alex and Jason going through lines and whatever, and they're in his like trailer,
Yeah, it was his trailer.
and Alex is making breakfast and like
It,
muffins that are
it's
like
bad.
rocks. They're bad.
Alex being a perfectionist and not being able to cook is like the opposite of me. Like my life is a mess, but at least I can
At least
cook.
I can cook. Amen, bro. That's me. And so Alex also gets called into work. And so all the girls meet at the office. Alex is having trouble keeping her secret to Jason. And
Hmm.
Bosley comes in and gives him a pep talk
But
about
first,
like,
don't you love Alex's lie? Like
oh
her constant
yeah,
lies to Jackson. She's like, I'm a bikini
I'm a
waxer.
bikini waxer.
I just happen to know all about bombs.
Right.
Which by the way, she said she learned it on the internet. The 2000s internet was useless. They didn't even have Google. They had like
Yeah.
Ask Jeeves.
Right. It's like it's basically the internet back then was like a database and
It
that's
was.
it.
Like I'm sure they barely even knew what bombs were. I'm sure if you typed in bombs on the on the internet in the year 2000, it was just like pictures of World War II jet planes
Mhm.
and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm. Basically. So, that should have been his first flag.
Exactly.
Anyway, they get a call from Charlie and he gives them their next mission, which is on Eric Knox, who is an engineer who was kidnapped. And he has like this really cool voice identification software and it's stolen.
Mhm.
And they're hired by like his assistant, Vivian Woods. I don't know if
I
that's
don't
her
know what
role.
her title. I wasn't really paying that much attention to her title. I don't think she was an assistant. More like maybe a partner.
Maybe, but
Like maybe he did like the technical aspect and then she did the business. I don't
business.
know.
Yeah, it's never really said.
Yeah.
But when they're hearing all this, like Natalie straight up says, "Oh, she did it," And can I just say she called it?
She called it.
Can I just say
It was one of her genius moments. Like
it was one of her genius
like
moments.
she was just kidding, but like she was right
She was
on.
right. Like, come on now.
Like me, I like to think of myself as psychic. I'm usually right about people. So me and Natalie were simpatico.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they have one lead, and it's Roger Corwin.
Hmm.
And to get information, they follow him to a massage house.
Hmm.
And the girls go undercover. Alex is his masseuse or
She
whatever. And,
dresses herself up as Japanese, even though she's not Japanese.
right.
They were just
And
like, whatever, you look it. And which,
yeah.
by the way, Corbin had a real Japanese fetish. Like everywhere he went, it was like
Oh my God.
Japanese themed.
Yes. Because he has that theme party later that we'll talk
Yeah.
about. But anyway, she starts the massage and she has her feet all up in his face,
Yes. And
which
he was just totally fine with it. And I was
I
like,
know.
that's disgusting.
I know. I'm just like, you're enjoying this a little too much, man. Like, this is gross. Like, you might have a thing for like Japanese culture, but you also might have a thing for feet.
Yeah. I mean, like, to each their own. But
Yeah, to
like
each their own.
for most people, if someone put their feet in their face,
And
they would
yeah,
be appalled.
yeah,
That's not something you just know offhand that someone
right,
is gonna like.
right. And it's a stranger's foot.
Yeah.
You don't even know where that foot's been.
Yeah, because don't in Japanese like cultures like you don't wear shoes inside.
Yeah,
So she's just been walking around that entire place with no shoes on. Who knows what she stepped in?
right. And anyway, to get off the feet subject,
Okay.
she knocks him out with like some pressure points or whatever. And then the girls come in and they go to his locker. They copy his Palm Pilot, which, whoa,
So
let's date that
2000s.
right there. Palm Pilots, y'all.
It kind of looks like a BlackBerry, but like way older.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like a first gen BlackBerry. And so they copy his Palm Pilot and his car keys, and they get information that Corman's throwing a party, and that they might as well go and get information. They
Mhm.
also find in footage from the parking lot where Knox was kidnapped that there was a creepy thin man
Mhm.
that was
That's
also there.
literally what they call him the
Yeah,
entire movie.
yeah. I don't even know if he has a name.
He probably doesn't.
Right.
I mean, he does in the second movie, but I don't remember it because they still
Oh,
just call him Creepy
creepy
Thin
thin
Man.
man. Yeah. So the girls infiltrate the party and they bring Bosley.
Oh
And
wait,
Bosley,
you skipped the burger scene.
that was the burger
There was
scene.
literally a scene where they went to a burger place and the speaker wasn't
The
working,
speaker wasn't
and
working.
then cut to a butt shot of Lucy Liu um
Yeah,
fixing it. Like
gratuitous booty shot.
I'm not complaining at all.
I think
But
I don't
I
think
don't
anybody was.
but I don't know why it had to be there.
I mean, and all while all this is happening, Independent Women Part One by Destiny's Child is playing.
Hmm.
What a
Great
bop!
song. One of my
Great
favorites.
song.
No,
And
back to the
so
party.
back to the party. So Bosley goes in and he's supposed to keep Corin busy and
Uh-huh.
get
His name is
yeah.
John David Rage.
Yes, he's
That
a
is
he's
the
a
he's a what?
like something guru, right?
He's like a lifestyle guru or something like
Lifestyle
that.
guru.
But that is the fakest name I've ever heard. He
I
might as
know.
well have said his name was something like Dixon Butts or Holden A. Pear. That's
Right?
how
Hold it,
ridiculous
a pair.
that's how ridiculous John David Rage sounds.
Yo. I mean, maybe that was a thing in the early 2000s.
I mean,
Being a guru with a creepy name or weird name.
maybe. I don't know. I was like 3. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know, y'all. We're not that old. So the girls are also there. Alex and Dylan are like Bosley's like what
Arm
posse,
candy.
arm candy, and they like run the party. And Nat is the little waitress,
Hmm.
um, and she meets a cute guy, the bartender,
Pete. And
Pete.
when I was watching the movie, I wrote these notes. I wrote,
Okay.
oh my gosh, Pete looks like Owen Wilson. And then at the end of the movie, I saw Pete's name and it said Luke Wilson. And I was like, are they brothers?
Are
They're
they?
brother. It's yes.
No way.
I was like, why does he look so much like Owen Wilson?
Oh my
But
gosh.
like not Like it was a weird thing.
It,
Yeah.
it, look it like it's like a watered down version, kind of.
They're brothers.
They're brothers. How insane. So, um, Alex and Dylan see that Natalie and the bartender Pete have something going on. And so they act like her wing women and they're like, you should get at it, like try and flirt with him. And Natalie sucks at flirting. Like
Same.
I always get
Same.
like such huge secondhand embarrassment from watching it. But like I was like, I gotta do it and I gotta watch it and stick through it. And like the whole time I'm like, you know what? That could be me. I'm like that's so relatable. But like he's also the same way.
Yeah, he's also bad.
He's a straight up himbo and
He's
he's all like,
he's like Thursday, I got tickets.
yeah, I love tickets.
Thursday, my favorite
My
day.
favorite day. And so she actually does get a date with him. And then Bosley, meanwhile, gets pulled into all these like tasks or like tests of courage or whatever. There's like the fake sumo wrestling.
Which, by the way, the sumo outfits had nipples.
I know.
It was very disturbing.
I know. They're just like I feel like that's all you could look at because it was like right underneath the face.
It's all I looked at.
And so he gets to do the sumo wrestling and then like he eats potentially very poisonous fish. Like if you eat too much.
Blowfish.
Blowfish.
Which apparently from Alex we learned isn't, or was it Dylan?
Alex.
Alex said it's not like only like 1 in like 100 or poisonous.
Yeah, so you either ingest a lot or you get lucky and you eat the poison one. They then see creepy thin man and they leave the party to chase him down. They have a cool outfit change in the stairwell
which
while they're
made
chasing
absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Because Alex was wearing a strapless dress, and I think Dylan was too. And then somehow, while running down the stairs, they changed into jackets and pants.
Right.
Like Natalie's outfit made sense. Like it was like just like a little modification on her like uniform she was wearing. The other two had completely different clothes on and hairstyles.
Yeah. Like I got it like for the pants thing because you can always wear pants under dresses, but like I remember like Alex ripping off her skirt and you see the pants and I'm like, that's fine, but you can still see the top of the dress.
Yeah.
And then next shot, they're down on the ground and she's got like a full-on turtleneck. And I'm like, girl, where did that come from?
And we're going to have to talk about sensible shoes. Every time they go after someone, they are wearing heels. That is not okay.
I mean, I will tell you, like, heeled boots, those are really easy to run in. But, like, if this is your job, like, can't you find more sensible shoes out there?
Yeah, there's a huge problem with that.
Like, we get the aesthetics, but, like, is it practical?
Do you think Charlie makes them wear that? It's the patriarchy.
That's the patriarchy. Take it down, girls. Let's take it down.
What's he gonna do? Come and yell at you? Call you on the phone and yell at you? Like, wear some tennis shoes.
Right. Oh, boo-hoo, he yelled. Put some tennis shoes on. Wear what you want.
Oh, and the creepy thin man looks like a giant child. He looks like he just like they stretched out a 7-year-old who was like late for Easter service. Like he looked like a giant child in a suit.
Also, he looks like he's in the wrong decade. He looks like some like 60s or 50s like Italian like greasy mobster type guy.
Probably because his hair is greasy. He constantly has like that sword cane with him and he's constantly smoking.
Yeah, and he's always got like a pinstripe suit on.
Yeah.
Like no matter what. And so they fight the creepy guy and they get like their asses kicked. He steals a piece of Dylan's hair, which I never liked that part. Like he like steals it and like sniffs it.
He
like full
sniffs
on
it,
inhales.
yes.
And I'm just like, oh no, nope, that ain't it. That ain't it. So creepy thin guy gets away, but they find Knox tied up in some like sewer looking room.
I don't know. It looked like, yeah, it looked like it was underground, but it
Yeah, but
wasn't.
it wasn't.
It was weird. Which, by the way, weren't they a little suspicious that the person they were looking for they got led to?
Right.
Even as a kid, I thought that was kind of suspicious. I was like, how did you just happen to be led here?
Like something should have happened.
Yeah.
Like you didn't wander here on accident. You actually followed the bad guy.
And he led you here.
Yeah. Like no bad guy is gonna lead you to their lair. I mean
Yeah.
some might. But anyway. They go to the next day and Dylan and Vivian are in the office with the girls in Bosley. And there's this like thing going on between Dylan and Knox, which, you know, do your thing, girl.
Hmm.
They theorize that Corman and his company Red Star are going to use Knox's software to like do evil things. They don't really say to do what, but like they have
Yeah.
access to everyone's voices and
Yeah. They're like, they could use this to find anyone in the world. If this was handed to the wrong person, it could be catastrophic. And I'm like, how?
yeah,
I feel like, I guess, like, if the mob got it, like, they could go around looking for snitches and stuff like that.
yeah,
But like, other than that, what's the worst that could happen?
right. And did like you would only okay. So did a lot of people have like cell phones back then too?
2000? I have no idea. I could go
Because
ask
like
my mom. I don't
yeah, because like
know.
the only thing that would be like popular and like accessible would be like payphones and home phones.
Yeah. Which means you would have to already know where that person is.
Right, right. Or you'd like find like their home or like some random payphone in like New York City, and you're like, ooh, okay, now I'm like one step closer.
I know they're in New York, the city with like 5 million people.
Right. On this day at this time, it's not like they could ever leave New York City.
Yeah, people don't leave New York City all the
Yeah.
time
No, they just stay there forever.
because it's so affordable.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so they try and put, well, they say that they're going to monitor Corwin. So they're going to put a camera on him. And so they end up at like a racetrack.
Yeah.
And I don't know why Corwin's there in the first place or how. Anyway,
Corwin has the social life of the century.
he
He
really
is
does though.
he is out all night and all day. Does he sleep? Who knows?
Who knows? Honestly, who's running the company at this point?
Not him, because
Not
he's
him.
he's never at work. He's constantly out getting massages or at parties and hitting on people who are way too young to be with him.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oof. Older man though. Um, so they put the camera on him pretty easily with Dylan being all seductive to the chauffeur and
You know
Alex
that
sneaking by.
actor, oh my gosh, he literally got paid to stare at Drew Barrymore's boobs for
Yeah,
probably like 5 hours.
yeah.
And then the director went, or the writer, I don't know, I'm not in Hollywood,
Mm.
whoever, with the extra mile of paying him the extra money to say like 2 words.
Yeah, yeah. Just like you like fast cars and I'll cool you down and like that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And they
And then
had to,
like incoherent noises.
and now he's a part of the actors union.
Now he's covered for life.
He's covered for life. He has health insurance now. All he has to do is pay the $5,000 union dues every year, and
Yeah,
he's set.
and that's it. Man can live out the rest of his life.
And all he had to do was stare at Drew Barrymore's boobs.
Some people just have it made. Also, it's really funny how all these men are taken down so easily by
So
like a cute glance or whatever, or like just like brushing by them. Like, honestly, all the men in this movie.
They're like stereotypical middle school boys. Like they're not.
Uh,
They have no self-control.
Zero. Like if that man in the car, the chauffeur, was normal, it would have been weird for some girl to get into the car.
Right? He would have been like, "Who are you?"
Yeah, like it doesn't matter how good looking you are. Like, what are you doing in this car?
Like, yeah, it's like, I'll get your number after you answer my questions. Like,
Right.
what's happening here?
Right. Like maybe you could talk to me outside the car. Like this doesn't even have a hood. Like just talk to me.
Right? You stand out there. We can both get out of the car.
Yeah, we could both get out. um but anyway, they place the camera, and then Nat like looks around, and she sees the creepy thin man.
Mm-hmm.
And he has hair. It's Alex's hair, right?
Right? Which I didn't understand. Because, like,
Yeah, I didn't understand how he got that.
Like, he sat there and started sniffing her hair. And I was like, when did you get Natalie's hair? Or are you just showing off Dylan's hair? I was very confused.
Yeah, because I'm like, that is not red, so it can't be Dylan's hair. Maybe it's some random girl's hair.
I'm sure he just goes around ripping girls' hair out because he seemed that creepy.
Yeah. Which, poor girl, whoever's hair that was. And so Matt and the thin man get into their race cars, and they race around the track, and then they end up outside, like on daily streets and the freeway. And then they make it out to a bridge where they play chicken on a bridge in wherever they are, LA, I'm assuming.
I guess it's LA.
Because I think that racetrack is down in LA.
Is it like by Long Beach or something?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with where it is exactly.
For people who don't know LA is comprised of like 50 different cities.
Yes.
Like I don't
they're all different.
I don't think Los Angeles is actually a city. I think it's just like how we say here, we're in the San Francisco Bay Area. I feel like that's what Los Angeles is. It's just a collection of different cities.
Yeah, because the Bay Area is made up of so many different places.
Yeah, which are so different.
Yes. So how are they on a bridge in LA that's empty?
You know I mean, when they were driving through the streets, they encountered like 2 cars, and I was like,
yeah, you're right.
Okay, you're right. Sure.
Yeah, like, okay, it's midday. There's 0 cars out.
Like, let's say this is a weekend. There would be cars literally everywhere.
Yeah, you'd be stuck in traffic.
How funny would that be, though? They're driving their little go-karts down the street, and they have to stop
at a red light.
There's traffic. Oh, and during
they're like 2 cars away from each other. They're like looking out.
I'm coming to get you.
I'm gonna get you. Once this light turns green, I got you.
Oh my gosh! And during their game of chicken.
Yeah.
Right before they drove their cars toward each other, there was like a pelican, and it like stood there dramatically, and then like looked, and then like flew away. And I just have a question.
Okay.
Do you think they trained the pelican to do that, or did the pelican just do that and they were like, keep that in the movie? Yeah. And if they did train it, how long do you think it takes to train a pelican to fly on command?
I would love it if it was just a random bird, and then like looking at the footage later and being like, holy crap, that's so dramatic. Let's leave that in.
So dope. Leave that in the movie.
Like, dude, you can feel the tension in that pelican, and you can see the car in the background. Like, homie, like what?
I have a strong...
Also, if it was a trained pelican,
yeah,
I want to know, are like all birds in movies like trained actors? Are they trained actors, y'all? Like, now I need to know.
I know at Universal Studios they have a bird show where they trained birds. So I just want to know, like, did they like specifically pick that pelican for a reason, or were they just like just that one?
Yeah. Or I like the curve of its neck. Let's just pick him.
Did they have auditions?
I need to be in the casting room for that. I need to know.
It's like, let's hear your squawk. Oh, I don't like that one. It's too
Right.
deep.
Right. Let's see you walk. He's a little limpy. He's like not symmetrical. He's out.
Everyone spread your feathers. Let's check them for needle marks. You know
Proceed with
how
your health history.
you know how these birds love to get addicted to drugs.
Does that mean they're part of the actors union too?
They are.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so back to the chicken game, y'all. Back to the
Yes.
chicken game. The thin man swerves and hits like the side of Nat's car and like flips out into the water.
Hmm.
And we're assuming that he's dead.
Yes, because anyone else would have been dead.
Anyone else would have been dead because it's hard to get out of those cars, y'all. He would have just drowned.
Yeah.
And so their next plan is to infiltrate Red Star to get Nox's software back because they're assuming that it's in their building, like in their mainframe.
Hmm.
So they're putting like a device in there to check the system to see if it's in there. And it's like this complicated plan. And they
Way too complicated.
Yeah. And they're like explaining it. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
you could have just like said, we need this guy's handprint, we need that guy's eye.
Yeah. And are the Angels a government agency or are they a private detective agency?
On the plaque, it says private investigators.
Yeah, that's what I thought because like this woman hires them to do it, and if they were a government agency, they wouldn't be hired. So they're doing very illegal things, like hacking into mainframes and stealing people's DNA.
Yeah. And the way they get the DNA though. So so they need two directors' DNA. So to get the first director, they need his handprint or like fingerprint, whatever. So Natalie and Alex dress up as belly dancers in this restaurant bar thing? I don't know.
Who knows? It had a stage, which was
It had a
weird.
stage, and like the building itself, like the room itself, is super small. So
Yeah.
I have no idea. So one of the directors is there, and he's like totally into this. Like way too into it. And so while he's distracted, Dylan comes by and steals his bottle, and she like does the dramatic turn and like the CSI zoom in.
Yeah.
And there's the fingerprint.
And she got one fingerprint for his entire hand.
Right.
She needed his entire hand, and she got one fingerprint and was able to make a fake hand off of that one fingerprint.
And then they need the second director's like eye scan.
Yeah.
So they dress up like German girls.
Swiss? I think they were Swiss.
Is it Swiss?
I think they were Swiss.
Because they were speaking in German.
Oh, well, whatever.
They were singing in German.
We're literally we're literally sitting here trying to analyze this as if it matters.
We want the realism here.
Yeah. Because, having Lucy Liu dressed as a German girl is very realistic.
So they're like a singing telegram, and they show up at this guy's house. And Bosley's there playing this huge tuba, and he like sticks the bell into this guy's face and gets a scan of his eye.
And the guy didn't notice.
Yeah, and the guy did not notice the red light beaming at him and scanning his eye. Like, I get that they're in skimpy outfits and stuff, but come on now. There's a huge instrument in your face.
And for the eye scanner, the eye scanner had two things, and they only had one eye scanned. I'd like to think that both of your eyes are like a little different.
Well, I mean, if all of your fingerprints are different on each finger, I mean, I don't see why not.
I mean, apparently they're not. So
according to this movie, everything is the same.
All your fingerprints are the same. Your eyes are completely the same.
Exactly.
Everything is the same.
Doesn't matter. You need a fingerprint, doesn't matter. You need one. So they get into Red Star as Alex is some efficiency expert, and Nat and Dylan are dressed up as like her male co-workers or bodyguards. So I don't understand.
Yeah, no one thought that was weird. Like, I get they did it for, like, so that when they went up to the machine, they would look like the two directors, even though they looked nothing like
Nothing
them.
like them.
But yeah. And Melissa McCarthy has
Yeah,
a
Melissa
small role.
McCarthy. Hey, Melissa McCarthy. Super small role. So Alex does her little thing, and like, horny engineers, dude. Like, come on now.
Yeah, she wasn't even saying anything. She was mostly just whipping around a stick.
Yeah, her
And
little
they,
dominatrix act.
yeah. And that very loud leather dress she was wearing.
Oh my gosh, the chafing noise of like the
Yeah.
leather like moving against itself. Oh my gosh. Also, that must have been freaking hot to wear.
It must have been so hot. And
Like, I can't even
for
imagine.
people with sensitive ears like me, that would have drove me crazy. Like, I can't touch styrofoam.
Oh
I
yeah.
I have a styrofoam phobia. Is that what you would call it?
I mean, I guess, yeah.
I hate the feel of it. I hate the sound of it rubbing together.
Hmm.
So being in that room with the dress would have driven me insane.
This is the bad ASMR. This is the one you do not want.
Yes. I mean, I don't like
ASMR.
ASMR to begin with,
Yeah,
because
it's
the
just
fact of hearing someone spit into a microphone, which, hello, thanks for listening to this podcast.
No, I will not put my nails against my microphone, guys. You want that, go somewhere else.
Do you love me yet? Let's get back to the movie.
We love a good transition.
Yes.
So after Alex does her whole spiel, Nat and Dylan like break off the group and like try to do their authentication for the mainframe. And Dylan's handprint goes through, the whole handprint,
Mm-hmm.
with the one finger. And Nat has problems with her contact, whatever, she moves it and it's fine. And then it's a very Mission Impossible-esque, like, break into the vault,
Mm-hmm.
be very light. And so Nat's the only one that goes in. She attaches the doodad, whatever it is, the device.
Yeah,
It's
to the
not really
mainframe.
to the mainframe. It doesn't really say what it is.
It just looks like a USB, but okay.
Yeah. And after that, they give an update to Vivian and Knox, and Vivian is acting all sus, and
Mm-hmm.
Alex is like 100% on it.
Yeah,
Because Vivian's asking for like access to Red Star's mainframe.
yeah, and Alex is like, we can't give you that.
Right, like, we understand that you're looking for your own property, but that Red Star is somebody else's property. We can't have you going in there.
Yeah, even though we broke into it.
Right. And we're private investigators, not a government agency. This is all legal. And so they still think that Knox is like going to be hurt or something, so they put a protection detail on him. Dylan gives him like this like panic button,
Mm-hmm.
and like they're flirting this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And Knox makes a very poor attempt at keeping Dylan in his house with the freaking shake and bake and
I
scrabble.
shake, you bake.
You bake. And then Scrabble.
So literally when he said I shake you bake, I literally wrote, his flirting is so bad. How could you say I shake you bake and then want to sleep with someone?
Right.
I literally put go fuck yourself.
Oh my gosh, like, how pretentious are you to be like, I shake, you bake. You want to stay?
And she did.
And she stays.
I mean,
Like,
we've already established she has bad choices with men. She slept with Chad.
yes. She slept with Chad. Sweet Chad. And so we skip from Dylan and we go to Natalie and Pete on their first date. And they're
At
at this
Soul Train.
At Soul Train. Ah! And when they walk in, Nat gets invited on the stage, and Pete thinks he's also invited, which I think is so sweet.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, man, this is only for the women.
Yeah, it's like, it's only for women. He's like,
Yeah. He's like,
okay.
And so Nat goes on stage and she's dancing her little white soul, like
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Everyone in the audience is confused. They're
And
like,
anyone with a drop of color in their skin is just like, what is she doing?
mhm. And why was she on stage by
By
herself?
herself. Like, I don't,
Like they set her up. They
they
wanted
really
her to
did.
get made fun of.
They really did. And then, like, after she, like, does her thing for a minute, then they start hyping her up a
Right?
little
They started
bit.
hyping her up, and I'm like, she didn't get any better. I don't
Yeah, she didn't
understand.
get any better. And
Is it?
Pete is hyping her up too with the back to the bouncers.
Yeah, but Pete is corny. So
Pete is corny. Pete is just really like here to have a good time, and he's like
mhm. He's
totally
down.
hyping her up.
He's down for whatever.
He really is down for whatever. And so after that, we then go to Jason on set doing like his movie shoot or whatever, and like when the scene is done, like he gets shot and his lover gets shot. He literally drops his co-star.
Yeah, he dropped her hard. Like
Right, like
I
there's
heard
a
a thump.
thud. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Like I would be pissed.
Yeah, I would be so upset.
Like homegirl just lays there for a second and then she gets up and
Yeah,
Jason is already like halfway offset.
while she was laying on the ground, like waiting to get up, she was just thinking, like, would it be worth it if I hit him?
I mean,
Can I afford to lose this job right now?
right.
And then she said nope and just
Nope.
got up.
She's like, this is my first major role. I cannot hit him.
Yes.
I cannot.
She's like, if there's a sequel though, I'm coming for his ass. Like,
right. And so Alex is in his trailer making a nice dinner, which would probably not taste good, and planning
it
to tell
actually didn't
him
look that bad.
it didn't look bad, but the muffins also didn't look bad.
True.
So
Those muffins were rocks.
rock hard.
Like literally, they threw it through a door.
Right. Like, come on now. And so while she's planning all of this, the trailer gets shot up
Which,
by
oh my gosh, did you notice when she jumped into the like ceiling of the trailer?
oh yeah.
I literally had to rewind because I thought I saw something, and I was right.
What?
Why was there carpet on the ceiling of the trailer?
What?
There was carpet. I literally was
There's
sitting there.
carpet on the ceiling?
I was sitting there with Nyla, and I was like, hold up, did I see carpet? And I rewound and I pressed play and then I paused it. And I was like, Nyla, is that carpet? She was like, yeah. And I was like, yes, there is carpet on the ceiling of that trailer.
What in
They
the
obviously just filmed it on the floor or
Yeah.
something and was
Yeah.
like, here you go.
Right. It's probably gonna be uncomfortable if it's just metal, so let's put some carpet down.
Yeah.
Like what? So Alex is hanging from the like the top of the trailer with the
Mhm.
carpet. And then she
Oh, and
leaves.
I almost
What?
forgot.
What?
How did those people get onto that movie set?
Oh yeah,
The ones that shot the trailer.
because those are usually closed down.
Yeah, and they just like drove up, shot it, and then just drove off. Like no
Right.
one cared.
No one cared. No one like was suspicious of two like jeeps coming by with men with guns. Like,
Yeah.
is no one curious in this movie? Like, I am.
In this world, they don't care about anything. They don't care if you jump out of a fully seated aircraft. They don't
Right.
care if you shoot up a trailer in front of I'm guessing 100 people.
Right. There's no one out on the streets down in LA in the middle of the day on a bridge.
And then what happens to Natalie? Like no one's there for that. Once you start talking about that.
Yes. Okay. So Alex leaves and is going to go to the office, and then at the same time, Nat is getting ambushed in the bathroom at Soul Train.
And when she does get ambushed, she literally looks up. She sees that man. He says, "Hey," and she says, "Hey."
Yeah. She literally just like, "Oh hey, what's up?" Like, girl.
Like, do you need the sink after me?
Right. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Or let me just 2 seconds and I'll be done with my hands.
Yeah.
Like, sheesh. And so she gets choked out by a bike chain until she gets out and she finds out that Vivian Woods is the one that hired everybody to kill them. And so she calls Alex, and Alex tells her the same thing. And then they call Dylan, who is still at Knox's place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shoot. And at the same time, Vivian Woods is at Bozzy's place. I forgot to mention that.
Yes.
Vivian Woods showed up to Bozzy's place all like,
And then in another leather outfit.
yeah, and like super aggressive.
Yeah.
She's like totally trying to get on him, and he's like, no, we need to keep this professional. We need to keep it professional. At least he knew to keep it professional. Like, come on now. And so anyway, Dylan gets the call from Nat, and Nat tells her that Vivian is evil. And so Dylan goes out to tell Knox, and Knox catches her and he's like, hey, what's the rush? What's going on? And she tries to tell him, and Vivian is there. And Vivian has to like, what?
How did she get in the house? Because didn't Dylan just set up a security system?
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many like holes in it.
There's a lot of holes, but keep going.
Okay, so Vivian has to like straight up say that like this whole time, Knox and her had been working together, and there was no like stealing or kidnapping of his the software or him. Mm-hmm. And the creepy thin man is also in on it, and he's alive.
Mm-hmm.
And so
not even hurt at all.
Not even hurt, no scratch, no bandage on him anywhere.
Still smoking cigarettes.
Still smoking with his little knife cane, sword cane, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so Knox is with Vivian, and he like tells Dylan that she has to go. So he takes the gun from Vivian and like shoots at Dylan, and you like see her go through the window. And like that's it.
Yeah, and then he's like, let's
quote unquote shot.
Yes, and then he's like, let's go to IHOP, which same.
Or Sizzler. He said Sizzler, right?
Yeah, IHOP or Sizzler.
IHOP or Sizzler, which
this man is a multi-millionaire.
She literally calls him out on it too. She's just like, you're like the cheapest man I know. And I'm like,
but honestly, same. If I had millions of dollars, I'd still just want to go to IHOP.
Honestly, same.
Not Sizzler, but I'd want to go to IHOP.
It's like, you know what? Let's just go to Taco Bell and get some stuff off the value menu. Let's go.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't matter how much money I got.
I still go to Taco Bell, drive through, raw as hell.
Okay, Bergie, let's go. So Alex and Nat show up at the office, and
which is also Bosley's home.
Which is, yeah, Bosley's home, I guess. And they're trying to get in touch with Dylan still. And then we flash back to Dylan, and it shows her reverse, like falling. So she's back up in the house or whatever. And it shows how she dodged the bullet. Like, honey, how did you know he was gonna, like, if you see the trajectory of the bullet, it wasn't even gonna hit her. It was gonna go over her shoulder. And she, like, falls with it. And I don't know if that's genius or super dumb.
Right? Because, like, how does she know that the window would completely shatter?
Yeah. Like, what if it's, like, this super, like, bulletproof whatever, and, like, the moment you throw yourself back, you just get, like, flopped forward?
I would love to see that. She pretends to get shot. She hits her head. It's like, ow!
She just like flops forward. There's no blood anywhere. She just still pretends to be dead.
And they just leave anyway.
They just leave her anyway, because that's how that would go. And so she's hanging from her bedsheet that is miraculously holding on to a sheet of glass. Mm-hmm. And if the glass was able to hold her body weight, how did she crash through it? Come on now.
Charlie's Angels logic.
Charlie's Angels logic. So she's holding onto the sheet, and eventually the sheet gives way, and she falls down a freaking hill and survives. And then she is in some person's backyard, and she grabs like a pool like donut, mm-hmm. and like goes up to a window where little kids are and asks them for help.
Well, they're talking about how they saw boobs.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so Dylan gets help. She gets clothes and like this electric like gas bike, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she shows up at the office where Nat and Alex are. And she tells them that Vivian and Knox and the creepy man are all working together. And then the office explodes. And no emergency services or people show up.
I mean, you kind of hear them towards like the end of this
Yeah,
scene.
but it's been like 15 minutes at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Because like they stand there and
I mean, this is
awe.
I mean, this is Los Angeles. It's a pretty big city. Maybe they hit traffic.
Yeah. Sure. Okay, let's go with that explanation.
Even though this looked like a nice neighborhood, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
So while they're in the rubble, like looking for stuff, the girls figure out that they were used to get into Red Star, and that Knox thinks that Charlie killed his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Bosley getting dragged into a cell, trying to escape.
Yeah.
And then he like has all this stuff to play with, which like
yeah, they gave him toys.
Yeah, he gave him toys to entertain himself.
Which, by the way, why did they keep him? I don't understand why they needed Bosley. Because when they're like figuring out Knox's plan, they're all like, they need Bosley to contact Charlie, but they don't use him to contact Charlie.
They literally just like take his cell phone and answer.
Yeah, so I don't understand why Bosley had to be kidnapped.
I guess maybe as leverage later, but they don't even use that.
No, there was no need.
There was no need. But Bosley is still playing in his cell, and he's playing with a baseball, and he throws it against the wall, and it hits him in the mouth, where he had his like listening and like
from the party
device from the party.
He never took it out in like the week since it's happened.
Right. Like, come on. Movie logic. So his like tooth comm like turns on, and he's like getting radio messages, and like he starts directing the radio waves with fingers behind his head.
Like antennas.
Like antennas. Like the human body does not do that. But it works anyway, and he like connects with the office with a speaker that somehow miraculously survives the explosion.
Yeah.
And he's telling
like it's still plugged in and everything. Like it's still like it completely still working.
Power. And so the girls hear it and they all rush to the speaker, and I don't know if he can hear them.
He can't.
Okay.
I think it's a one-way thing.
So
because they keep asking questions, and like he just keeps like rambling.
Yeah. So he's trying to give them information on where he is, and then he sees a bird and was just like, tell them where I am, and like opens his mouth towards the bird.
Yeah, and then the bird just starts making bird noises.
Yeah, and Nat like instantly knows exactly what the bird is.
Pygmy nuthatch.
Yes! And she's looking at the other two, and they're like, what is she on? Like, what is she talking about?
And it just happens to be a bird that only lives in one place.
Right.
It wasn't like a pigeon.
Right. Like it has to be very specific. And honestly, how does she still remember that information?
I don't know.
Like what?
Already established.
What in her mind is labeled as important? Like
we've already established that Natalie keeps information differently than the rest of us.
You're right. You're right.
She keeps and processes information way differently than everyone else.
So the girls figure out like where he is, and so they get in the car, and once they find like an old castle, mission, warehouse, whatever,
something like that,
by the coast, they're like, yes, they're like, we need a boat. And Dylan's like, oh man, do I know a guy?
I got a boat for you.
I got a boat for you. So Nat drives them to Chad, and they take Chad's boat. They take Chad's boat, like, I don't know how far, to where Bosley is, and then at a certain point the girls dive off, and for this time it's not the Chad. That's
he asks again. He's like, was it the Chad? And then she pops down and she pops back up, and she's like, the Chad was great.
The Chad was great.
She probably just said that just so he would leave her alone.
Honestly, though. So the girls swim however long it takes them from the boat
it,
to the
it
coast.
must have been a long time because they had scuba gear.
Yeah, like, sheesh, I know you wanted to go undetected, but he probably could have taken you a little closer.
Yeah, just a little closer.
So when they get to shore, they all take different routes. Alex goes to deal with the connection from the roof. That's literally what she says.
Oh, and they also have, like, when they get to shore, they have another undressing scene
Oh yeah, they
where
do.
they get changed into clothes that they didn't have.
Well, no. They did show like Dylan reaching into a bag and pulling out her shirt and jacket.
But they didn't have that bag when they got out of the water.
They didn't?
They didn't. They just had their scuba tanks and like their wetsuits, and then they were just pulling those off, walking towards a cave that they never went into, and and then they were dressed, and there was like that, and then the bag just like magically showed up next to them after they were already dressed.
I'm trying to help the movie out, bro.
Well, guess what?
But guess what? We only speak truth out here. And that is the truth.
I tell the truth.
Um, and also like Alex has all this like computer stuff. How would that survive in a backpack in the water?
It wouldn't.
It wouldn't. So anyway, Alex goes to deal with the connection, whatever that means. Nat goes to save Bosley, and Dylan says she's gonna go deal with Knox. So Nat goes off and finds Bosley, and while she's doing that, she gets a call from Pete. And she takes it. She literally
Yeah,
takes it.
when she's trying to rescue someone, she takes a personal phone call.
Right, and she's like all excited and like looking at Bosley and like being all, oh my god, she's calling. And she's still on the phone when bad guys come up to it, like stop her from taking Bosley.
Yeah. And then while there is all this yelling and stuff in the background, Pete's just sitting there waiting for her to come back to the phone.
Yeah,
He doesn't acknowledge the fact that he heard screaming. He's just like, okay.
right. He's just all like, oh, that's that's probably normal where she is.
Yeah. I too walk around where there's screaming people.
Exactly. And so while that is happening, Dylan gets like caught and tied to a chair.
Mhm.
And then Alex sets up her stuff in the roof seat, like top of the building, wherever they are. And then the creepy man comes and finds her, and she has to fight him.
Yeah.
While Knox gets a call from Charlie, probably on Bosley's cell phone, and traces the call and finds Charlie.
Yes.
And then while that has happened, there's a lot of
stuff happening at once.
yeah, there is a lot of things happening at once. And so while that is also happening, Nat gets Bosley out and has to fight Vivian at the same time.
Which, by the way, Vivian must have quite the collection of wigs because in every scene she has a new hairstyle.
Does she?
Every scene. In the scene where she goes to Bosley's house, she has her normal hair from the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
And then in the next scene we see her is where she's at what's his name? Knox's house.
Knox's
And
house.
she has a short haircut.
Oh.
And then we cut to this where we first see her at this compound, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever
And
it
she
is.
has another completely different haircut. She is the wig queen.
She's a wig queen. She's like, you know what? I'm feeling this today. And I'm gonna go do crime.
or I feel like wearing two wigs in one night.
She's like, you know what? I'm Vivian right now, and like later I'll be Vivian.
Yeah. This is my kidnapping wig. This is my shoot someone out a window wig.
And this is my wig where I tell somebody that I'm the bad guy. She doesn't do outfit changes. She does wig changes.
She does wig changes. It's way more iconic.
Way more iconic. Oh, okay. So once Knox gets a trace on Charlie's call, he like leaves, and Dylan has to fight off 5 guys with her hands tied back.
With her hands and feet tied to a chair.
Tied to a chair, and then she explains exactly how she'll get out and that she'll moonwalk out when she's done kicking their butts.
And she does exactly that.
And she does exactly that, minus the moonwalk.
And while she's fighting them, why are all of them screaming "Hiya" the entire time? They're like "Hiya, hiya!" I was like, dude,
Were
they
they?
they
I
were
don't think I was paying that much attention.
the entire time they were just screaming, and I was like, why? Why are you being? And they kept going after her one by one.
Right, like you could just ambush her. She's one girl with her hands tied. Like literally, one of you could have gone for her legs while somebody went for the top half.
Exactly. And didn't they have guns? Like,
Oh, did they?
I'm pretty sure they were walking around with guns. I could be wrong.
Oh, sheesh.
Don't come for me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
please.
I know we just said we spoke truth, but sometimes we forget.
I mean, it's my truth.
See,
Oh,
we got insurance here,
I
and
almost
it's my
choked to
truth.
death. No one's gonna listen to this.
I would have been down a co-host. Anyway, so after Dylan fights off these guys, all three girls meet up, and like Dylan comes out and like lassos the creepy thin man and Vivian with a chain, and then they're like
With one singular chain,
incapacitated.
which
Yeah.
which like splits into two chains somehow.
Yeah, it's like one really long chain to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so after she gets them like tied in this chain, which it only went around their waist, I don't see how they couldn't have gotten out.
Whatever.
They look up and Knox is in a helicopter and he blows up the compound.
And they
It's an
jump
iconic
off from like
scene.
a 3-story building and they
And
land on the
survive.
floor. Fine.
And they have debris flying at them and none of them are injured.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bosley shows up with a really nice looking Bronco, which, where did he find that car?
The Charlie Angels gods.
Gods. There are literal Charlie's Angels and they're out here dropping little gifts for people.
Yeah, they just fly around just waiting for convenient times to drop stuff that's needed.
Right. They're like, oh, my homegirls need a little help here. Let me just sprinkle some
It's like,
dust.
it's like, oh, you need a car? Let me fly in a car for you. Here you go.
Right, like, honey, I got you. Y'all need clothes after swimming in the ocean? I got you. Your backpacks are on the beach.
And I still can't get over the fact that they jumped off a 3-story building and we're
Right.
perfectly fine.
And
Just
it's not like they do that whole like, you know, people say like if you're jumping from high up, like land and like a crouch and then keep rolling so that the horse doesn't break your knees or anything.
They literally just fall. Like
They literally just like belly flop onto the earth.
last year I twisted my ankle walking down the stairs. I don't know how they could have done this.
Charlie's Angels movie logic. So anyway, they get into the car with Bosley and they somehow catch up to a helicopter that can fly wherever it wants.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex shoots like this harpoon at the helicopter. Grappling hook,
yeah.
something.
And it's able to carry all three
and
of
it's
them.
able to carry all three of them, and she's not too far away to hit the helicopter.
And Knox doesn't notice.
Thank you, Charlie Angels, like literal angels.
Thank you, angels.
Thank you,
angels. Thank you, angels.
So they climb up this rope or metal, whatever, and they hang on to the helicopter, which
doesn't make it unbalanced or anything.
Yeah, right. Or you don't like see somebody from your peripheral and be like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
Who's hanging off my helicopter? So they hang on until they get to Charlie's place. I don't see why they couldn't have attacked him earlier.
Yeah, who knows?
But they get to where Charlie's place is, and Knox shoots like a homing missile at the cabin that Charlie is staying at. Mm-hmm. And they like disconnects, like the angels disconnect some stuff on the helicopter.
And then
they
reroute Alex turns the missile into a heat-seeking missile.
Yes.
But I had a problem with this. As usual,
Okay. Yeah.
because Charlie's fireplace was on, and it literally went towards his house, like it was going to hit it,
Mm-hmm.
and the fireplace was on. Yeah, with the heat-seeking missile, and then it just turned
Turns.
around
It does a total 180.
and went towards the helicopter. Do helicopters produce heat? I'm not a good scientist. I just really want to know that answer. Please, someone tweet me or send me an Instagram DM. Something. I
Right.
need to know.
Like, I get that, like, there's an engine on there, but does it get hot enough
Hotter
to,
than literal fire.
right? Maybe because all the bodies were on the helicopter, and maybe that was a greater heat
But Kelly,
source.
fire.
I'm trying to give this movie some credit.
It deserves none.
We're literally grasping at straws right now. So anyway, the missile is coming towards the helicopter, and the girls wait until like the last minute to jump off this helicopter
The
before the missile hits.
literal last minute. Like they jumped and the missile barely misses their heads.
Yeah. Like, did you not like learn from the last time you jumped from a bomb coming at you, a missile coming at you? Like,
Who knows?
jump sooner. So they land in the water and somehow survive.
Mm-hmm.
They get washed up onto the beach. It's like hours later because the sun is going down.
Yeah. They obviously like passed out or something.
Yeah, I don't know
Probably
how they.
probably because a helicopter fell on top of them.
So when they do finally get themselves together, they realize that that's Charlie's cabin on the beach, and they go up to it. And when they go in, he's not there.
He left a speaker for them
He's
though.
left. He left a speaker for them though, and he calls them and he says, "It's not the right time, whatever." And they see a picture of themselves on his desk, also with like Knox's father.
Mm-hmm. And then
And
cut to
so,
Hawaii.
and then yes, we cut to Hawaii with the Angels and Bozzy on the beach, having a good time.
Because whatever was in those Buddhas that Bosley was drinking, I need because he was lit. He was having the time of his life.
If we have some kind of like bartender or somebody who's really into studying drinks, like if
Send
you're
us
listening right now,
send us an email at sytyiipodcast@gmail.com.
either tell us the name so we know what to order or give us the ingredients.
Yeah, and then or if you know of like a hotel that has them in the Bay Area,
Right. Yes.
or in a
Yes.
different country, because like if we don't all die this year, I'm going on a long vacation.
I need to get out of here.
So just let me know.
Yeah, just let us know. So they're on a call with Charlie, which, always bring Charlie along.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlie's telling him the whole truth about Knox's father being a traitor and him dying on the other side. So, like, Knox, like the son, had misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
And while all this is happening,
His wires were completely crossed. He did
yes,
not know what was going on.
yeah, he had no idea. And while all this is happening, Dylan like looks over her shoulder and she sees somebody who she thinks is Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't say anything.
Because he was speaking on the phone.
Yeah, it could have been anybody.
It literally could have been anyone.
But she thinks it's him and she doesn't say anything to anybody else.
Absolutely nothing.
Like, she could have like
She was
done the
like, "Hey guys, is that
look over your
Charlie?"
shoulder or whatever. Right. She could have either said something or made like a motion.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen, and they all live happily ever after on the beach. And you kind of see a figure off on the end of the beach that you assume is Charlie, but could also be a random man.
Which also, he's like in a different time of day than they are.
It's like sunset where he is.
Yeah, it's like sunset where he is, and then you pan that to them, and it's like midday.
Yeah. Like, Charlie's in his own dimension.
Yeah, he has his own, the Charlie universe.
The Charlie universe,
His
yeah.
own universe. I doubt he was even in that house.
It's literally just like a mannequin.
He put a mannequin out the window to look
Yeah.
at the
It's Home
at the
Alone.
missile.
It's Home Alone all over again.
Oh my gosh, he's Kevin.
He's Kevin. Oh my gosh, he just has an alias called Charlie.
Yeah, this is the story of how Kevin went on to make a quasi-governmental private detective agency.
And that's why, like, all the girls doing their missions and stuff, that's why it never makes sense. And it always is, like, so convoluted. It's because Kevin made the plan.
Yes.
That's a conspiracy theory, y'all.
We forgot to say this movie ends with Blink 182's All the Small Things. Great song. Every song in this movie is incredible.
In this movie is good.
Not one miss.
Yeah, all of it's about. And that's the movie.
Yay.
Is this iconic or not?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like, I know I shit on this movie, but like, it's a good movie.
Like, when you don't go into it. Like,
right.
When you don't really go into it, it's a really good movie.
Right. Like, I had to sit here and analyze everything for a podcast, but like, if I'm just watching it, this is an amazing movie.
Right. Like, come on now. 3 really cute girls fighting crime. Come on now.
It was amazing.
We love to see it.
We're gonna have to do the sequel one of these days.
Oh wait, all 3, like the other 2, or just the second one?
Just the second one. We do not need to do the one with Bella from Twilight. We truly don't.
Oh yeah, no. It's okay. You don't need to go that far.
I'm thinking of the second one with Demi Moore. That one.
Full Throttle, I think that one's called.
Yeah. But it's not going to happen next month because next month is spooky month.
It's spooky season.
Yay.
So I'm going to hit you with some movie facts.
Okay.
Cameron Diaz and Drew Barrymore were like the first picks for their characters. But can you guess who was the first pick for Alex?
Oh, I think I know this one. It was Aaliyah, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't? Who was it?
It was not Aaliyah. I'm gonna give you a really big hint.
Okay.
Tomb Raider.
Ew, really?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Not Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, they tried to get Angelina Jolie, but she straight up turned it down.
Good for her. She did not need to be in this movie. This is still a good movie, though, guys. But
it's still a really good movie. We love it. It's iconic.
But Angelina Jolie caliber acting was not needed in this movie.
It really would have been so imbalanced.
Yes. I mean, has Angelina Jolie done some bad movies? Yes. We will soon watch The Tourist.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Keep going.
So second is that Cameron Diaz found it really hard to dance bad. Like she had to do multiple takes.
She found it hard to dance bad?
Yeah,
it's not hard to dance bad.
Like apparently like they had to do like multiple shoots of the bedroom dance because she was just doing too well, they said, and so they kept telling her to do worse.
Okay. That sounds made up, but okay.
I mean, I'm just reading what's on there, bro.
With my SAT, they told me I did too good, and so they made me take it again to do worse.
Do worse. We don't need your best. And the third movie fact is that Drew Barrymore actually was in a relationship with the guy who played Chad.
Of course she was.
Like they were actually together after the movie.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Why?
Yep. It was the sweet Chad.
He literally looked. Let me explain his face to you guys. He literally looked like he was punched in the face. Like his face looked like sunken in, like it was punched. And then he looked dopey. Think like Napoleon Dynamite, but like a little bit more attractive and not
A
with the
hair
like,
more attractive.
yeah, a hair more attractive. And then he had like shaggy hair.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And it looked really thin.
Yeah, like thin, shaggy hair. And then he was like he looked super long. Like he had like
Mm,
the world's longest torso.
mm-hmm.
And
He's
then
a very long man.
yeah, and then he was constantly wearing long johns. And what I would guess is LA usually has like a temperature around 78 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't, yeah, it wasn't it.
It wasn't for the weather. It was just for his own Chad aesthetic.
But Drew Barrymore doesn't have the best pick. But that's none of my
And
business.
none of my business. As long as she's living her good life, it don't matter.
Do you have any recommendations?
I'm going to recommend Destiny's Child. Just Destiny's Child
In
because I was
general,
listening
I
in
get it.
general because I was listening to after Independent Women came out. I was like, you know what, we're just gonna have a Destiny's Child day.
Oh, absolutely.
So for y'all who don't know, go check them out.
I think there's 4 albums.
Yes,
The best one is the second album, The Writings on the Wall. It is
yes,
immaculate.
yes. Like all of their stuff is good. Don't get us
Mhm.
wrong, but like, come on now.
Get into it.
Although Survivor was good.
The song and the album.
The song and the album, yes.
My recommendation is that Sabrina got me into this podcast called This Is Actually Happening.
Hmm.
Our friend Sabrina got me onto it. It's really good. It's a podcast where each episode is people telling their wildest stories. The first one I listened to was a guy who talked about how his mom died on Christmas. And then yes, and the most recent one I just listened to was about a man talking about how his wife ran him over with their car and how it completely ruined their lives. It was a wild story. So
As if
everyone,
running over your significant other wouldn't damage your
oh
relationship.
no, it ruined
It gets worse.
it ruined their lives, not their relationship, their lives. It ruined it. Yeah, everyone go listen to it. It's called This Is Actually Happening. And also, I'm going to mention Lock and Key.
Yep.
Um,
Here's the weekly plug, y'all.
Still not trending on Netflix.
Come
I
on,
saw
y'all.
that abomination of a movie, Cuties, was trending. Why isn't Lock and Key trending? Come
Come
on,
on,
y'all.
y'all. Just take our advice this one time.
Give it 3 episodes. You will
Yes.
be into it.
That's all we ask.
Yes.
If you don't, this is gonna happen the next week.
Yes. This will keep happening
This
until I
will keep
see it
happening.
trending.
Just know at the end of every episode, we're gonna ask you to watch Lock and Key.
Yep.
And if you've already watched it,
Watch it
we
again.
love you. Watch it again. Or spread the word.
Spread the word. So thank you for listening.
Thank
If you
you.
made it this far.
If you've made it this far, yes. If you've gotten through all of our rambling.
Yes. Follow us on our Twitter and our Instagram at SYTYI Podcast. And you know what? I want you guys to send us some stories. Send us some movie stories to our email.
Drop us some movie facts.
Yes. Did you see someone streak inside of your showing of The Hunger Games while making a student film? Did someone have a heart attack? I want to know.
We need it.
Tell us at our email at sytyipodcast@gmail.com. So thank you for listening.
Have a lovely week, y'all.
We will see you guys next week. Do not forget to wear your mask and wash your hands.
Practice safe social distancing.
And stay iconic.
Stay iconic, y'all.
Bye.